I'm going to do a bit of a video now on what's happened to me with my council tax. I'm on benefits, I'm on the sick. DWP pays most of the council tax, but what they do as of 2 years ago is they started asking for £110 per year out of my benefits. The first year it happened, I paid it in full because I couldn't be bothered with the hassle, but I sent a letter in, and the letter asked to show me the legislation that makes me obligated to pay this, and then I also wrote failure to do so may result in no further payments being made. Well, I paid the 110, got a receipt, the letter went in with it, got a receipt for that. Then I went home, left it, heard nothing. A whole year went by, they never bothered responding to the letter. So this time around I thought, sod it, if they can't be asked to respond to the letter, maybe I can't be asked to pay. So I had the first bill come through, they wanted something like £12.50, then the second one come through, and because I hadn't paid the first one it had gone up to like 24 quid. And it was a little bit less each month, but by the third month I owed 36 quid. And I thought to myself, I don't really know how to approach this. I weren't really sure on whether to go for them or not, with a claim or something like that, because I find it as harassment. It's demanding money by menaces, because on all of these things they have threats of debt collectors and things like that. So I just thought, I'll not pay it this time. Then a week later I got the summons. Now this is for £111.19, plus they said all of a sudden they're banging 70 quid on it, which brings it up to £181.19. It's got a robo printed signature on it, a geezer called Nick Watson. And then other than that, you can see the crown logo and all that shit. So basically I phoned them up and I had about a 25-minute conversation with this woman, and until I threatened to claim against the council, and the way you put that across to them, and you know, I'm just saying, I'm sorry, but giving me no choice. You're making me have to claim against you. I'm going to have to claim against you or the council. Then I asked them, who's taking vicarious liability for this? And then all of a sudden she offered me something that I'd never really heard of. It's called a discretionary housing payment, and the word discretionary gets my back up right from the beginning, because to me it's like it might as well be a discriminatory housing payment. So anyway, we goes toe to toe, me and this woman, for about 25 minutes on the phone, and the way I left it was, okay, I'll fill out this discretionary housing payment form, but she'd said that the council was still going to be going for the liability order to attach it to my benefits. So I waited for the form to come through, and I got this form from them, and I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, because I might not have even got a decision about the discretionary housing payment. They'd have ended up with a liability order on my name, attach that against my benefits, and if I managed to stop them from getting it off my benefits, they'd have been sending men round to the house to try and take my possessions for this. You know, at the end of the day, I owe 36 quid. So it's a load of bollocks. So what I did was I wrote them a letter, and it was a claim stroke letter. I've got it here, sent it, recorded delivery, to Hinckley Magistrates Court. Where's the camera gone? And I'm going to read you what I put. Now, covering letter starts like this. been summoned to appear before Magistrates Court sitting at Upper Broad Street, Hinckley, Leicestershire at 1:15 on the 22nd of July 2014. I wish to inform the Court that I enclose my defence against the liability order sought by Harbour District Council. My medical condition demonstrated within makes it impossible for me to know whether or not I will be well enough on the day to attend. If I do not turn up, it is not out of disrespect to the courts, it is out of lack of ability to do so. It is my understanding that a man has the right to a fair trial, which should be held in a court closest to him. I wish to go on record to claim that Hinckley courts are not closest to me. I wish for my human rights to be respected in this matter. I believe all information required is enclosed to enable the magistrate to discharge this case. That would be my wish. Sincerely, without vexation, frivolity or ill will. And at the bottom put all rights reserved. So then we'll go on to the claim. So at the top I've put notice in writing, and it starts like this. Dear Sir or Madam, I'm writing in light of recent telephone conversation with Karen Waterfield with regards to summons for unpaid council tax, case number, etc. I offer my defence. And you always use bullet points. I do not believe that anyone in authority is supposed to cause harm to any one of their inhabitants. The law states that the minimum I'm allowed to live on is the allocation given by the DWP. Man already survive on less than the minimum allowed by law. I believe that paying monies to Harbour District Council, HDC from here on, in the form of council tax will be putting me in harm's way. This is demonstrated by a copy of a recent common financial statement I volunteer as evidence of my situation attached. Now, while I'm at this point, I just want to tell you that you can go to the National Debt Line. I think that's .co.uk, and you can phone them up, have a little conversation, and they'll go through a list of things that you've got outgoings and incomings. Really, all you need to do is show minus figures. If you're losing money every month, there's more going out than is coming in. These council tax issues, you shouldn't be paying any of it. It doesn't matter whether it's just a little bit like I'm paying on the extra that they've added onto my benefits. If you're got more going out than coming in, or even if you've only got a couple of £100 a month being saved, until you've got £7,000 or £8,000, £9,000, £10,000 in the bank, they're still obliged to take these circumstances into consideration. I think the threshold at the minute is 6,750. If you've got any more than that, you can't claim benefits. If you've got less, you're entitled to benefits. Even if you're working, you're entitled to something. So the size of this council tax bill, at the very least, you should be able to squeeze it down to what you can afford and to what's not harming your life. So I'll carry on anyway. So this is demonstrated by a copy of the recent common financial statement I volunteer as evidence of my situation attached. Also attached is evidence provided by the NHS proving I receive help and support for my medical condition. Now, if you're under a doctor, you can get a letter from the doctor, or if you go into some sort of help group with the NHS, you can get a letter from them. Just a little bit of proof. What these people like to see is things evidenced. If it's not evidence, you could tell until you're blue in your face that you're in a wheelchair and you've got no legs. You're not sitting in front of them. They don't know if you're telling the truth. Now, once you show them some medical certificates, nobody's higher than the doctor. The doctor has the say. So you let them have their say if you've got a doctor on your side. Like I say, it's not necessary, but it's helpful if you have to use the information that you've got that's on your side. So I'll carry on with the letter. And I've got, I claim that using a court liability orders to commit harassment and bullying in an effort to extort people into parting with money they require to live on is unlawful and deceitful, demonstrated below by a quote from Halsbury's Law. 1. Halsbury's courts have no authority in this country. Halsbury's Law of England on Administrative Court Law 2011. The law is absolutely clear on this subject. There is no authority for administrative courts in this country, and no act can be passed to legitimise them because of constitutional restraints placed upon Her Majesty at her coronation. So, with Houseways in mind, I believe that Hingley Magistrates Courts have no authority to give HDC a liability order against my person, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 17, Part 2, no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. This would also have to be broken for the court to issue a liability order against my person without considering all of the evidence. Any breach of my human rights will go down as a statutory offence and can be prosecuted at Queen's Bench under common law. I forbid any man or woman to do so. And the harassment and bullying Harbour District Council have already inflicted upon myself and my person should be taken into account, especially when HDC received a letter from myself requesting to see the law that obliged me to pay council tax last year, 2013. HDC failed to respond. Therefore, HDC failed in their duties, yet are extremely quick to inflate a £36 debt to a £180 plus debt to try and inflict a liability order upon my person. The imbalance of priorities demonstrates a lack of duty of care by HDC, which is a right every man and woman should receive automatically. HDC demonstrates in favour of a more carnivorous, couldn't care less so long as you pay, and if you don't pay we will abuse the court systems to give ourselves liability orders, which then we give to third-party firms with teams of men who will come to your home and steal your possessions approach. I see this as demanding money by menaces, which is unacceptable and leaves me with no trust in the council staff nor current HDC mandate, whom, in my experience, are now untrustworthy. And for these reasons mentioned above, it is unacceptable and I forbid any future attempts to gain joinder with myself. Any attempts to do so shall be seen as harassment and bullying designed with intent to commit fraud against me, and shall be dealt with in a court of law under common law, whereby the man or woman committing the offence shall be prosecuted in their individual capacity unless someone in the chain of command takes vicarious liability. I also enclose a removal of rights of implied access. This is a lawful document. Any trespass that occurs upon my properties shall be dealt with lawfully. I require a cease and desist on a liability order. Any attempt to administer my account without my consent shall be seen as an attempt to defraud. Revoke any and all consent and assent relating to this issue, and any consent or assent HDC or Hinkley Magistrates Court assumes or presumes it may have acquired by acquiescence, tacit or otherwise, is revoked. All consent or assent gained by stealth is forbidden, and now and in the future and at all times is revoked as of this day. I tend to stay in honour in all of my accounts, even in these times of austerity. Remember to use that word. And for this reason, I'm willing to make you an official offer, a best offer and a final offer of £1 per month, £12 per year towards council tax deficit. This offer will obviously increase my monthly outgoings by £1, which means I am £1 more per month into minus figures. This is lawfully the best I can do. Any more would cause considerable injury, harm and loss to me, my life prospects and to my person. I wish to note that I am doing so as an act of good faith whilst being under duress and living with fear of court actions and possible imprisonment which could result in my death. This is totally foreseeable, and under no circumstances is this act of payment to be taken as a contractual agreement. Also, number one, homelessness is the reality I face. Out of necessity I take these steps. The word necessity is massive in law. Use it. Necessity makes the law. 2. Please show the legislation or law that states I am legally obliged or obligated to pay this extra debt HDC has incurred upon my person. And then 3, a copy has been attached to Harbour District Council Legal Department, etc. And then sincerely, without vexation, frivolity or ill will. Then at the bottom I put, I will stand in open court and testify that all herein be true. And I put all rights reserved again. So basically I sent that in sat back and waited, and nothing happened for quite a while. I got a phone call off of some debt management company, twice they called. I wouldn't go through the details with them, security details. I just said to them, no, I don't know you, who are you working for? They said, we can't tell you until you've gone through security. And I says, well, if you can't tell me, I don't want to know. Write to me so I know who you are, and then I'll deal with you. They didn't write. They phoned again, same thing happened again, write to me, they didn't write. So I was thinking, that's the council, they're still trying to gain joinder, you see, but they can't admit to trying to gain joinder because I've sent them all this stuff and they know I'm going to claim against them if they're trying, because I forbid it, but they still tried. So the next thing I got was a letter from them again saying, regarding your claim for benefit, discretionary discount fund payment award. Following your claim received for the above, I can advise you that the discretionary discount fund award has been made. So now bear in mind, I never even filled out a discretionary housing payment form. I never sent it off, never asked for it. I just made out that I was going to, and then sent a defence into what they were doing. But so basically they've given me the payment. They've not got a liability order against my person. They've not attached to my benefits. They've not been allowed to. And something about this stinks, because this means that they filled the form in on my behalf, and I'd like to see the signature, because I've not signed it. I haven't asked for a discretionary housing payment, but they chose to pay it. Not only that, but recently, just last week, I got a cheque. £110.89, the exact amount I paid last year. So they've paid back last year's and they've paid this year's. That seems like success to me.